Everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it together. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into all of these topics, sectors, looking for potential investment opportunities, sharing those opportunities with everyone, sharing my strategies to this bull market that's coming up that we're in commodities, and everything else related to commodities and investing that I know. You guys ask a lot of good questions for those question and answer sessions on the weekend. So we do have a coupon that's still active, Black Friday. If you'd still like to join, it will be closing at some point soon, where you can get a larger discount on the yearly membership. If you're monthly, you can always switch to the yearly. And we still have a 50% discount on the monthly membership to try it out if you like for the first month. We've got a midweek update that I'm going to be releasing here today, late today, so you guys can also watch that. All right, let's dive in. Let's take a look. We've got the dollar here, and the dollar still, to me, doesn't look super weak. It doesn't look like it's ready to roll yet. We're on support. Obviously, the blue line going across here, that's a support. Now, here's the thing. Let me just draw this real quick. This is kind of we came here from the top side down, and we've been consolidating. And we could see this roll over and come back down. That's what I think a lot of people are expecting, a weaker dollar. And that weaker dollar is going to be driven by interest rates. So when we go and we look at interest rates, we've got the 2-year yield here. We've been working our way on up here. We've just recently, the past 2 weeks, been pulling on back. Are we going to continue? Is this going to continue lower? Are we going to work our way on lower? That's probably going to be the case. And that's going to bring the dollar down with it, most likely. Now, the weird part is they lowered these interest rates, the Federal Reserve rate, the 2-year is very similar to that. And the longer the curve may not come down. So we'll have to see what happens here. So the 10-year and the 30 years, the long end of the curve, and we've been resilient on this end. We've pulled on back, but this is a bullish candlestick formation that we got today. So the dollar is stuck between the long end and the short end of the curve. It's almost like they're wanting to lower interest rates on the short end, but the long end has been holding steady or increasing. So we'll see if this increases. It looks like it wants to go higher, in my opinion, on the 10-year. And this is what's real difficult to nail here. If you look at it from a big picture view, uptrend, breakdown, retest, and that generally should pull back. So that's kind of what I see and what my opinions are from the longer medium term outlook. And then the 30 years doing something very similar. We're getting a bounce today, kind of a bullish engulfing setup where we could go higher. But the longer term, we've broken the, well, long term, we've broken the 30-year downtrend line there, 40-year downtrend line. We've been flag patterning up, and this could be a continuation pattern. And that's where your technicals and potentially the opinions of a lot of people are different. So I'm in the camp that this is going to go higher in the longer term, and in the short term here, I don't know. It's a question mark. And if I were to look at this and just do technical analysis, I would say this wants to go higher because we've got a bullish engulfing here with a setup there to go on up. So that's what I would say. The 10-year is the same thing. It's just a flag pattern ready to go higher. And that we're not going to get the longer the curve is not going to pull back. So that means that something is driving this. Generally, what drives it is inflation. Inflation is driven generally by oil. So when you see oil going up and you see the 10-year, we can look later on at the correlation between those two. They're correlated. So we've got TYX, TNX ratio. We have inverted here. So we've inverted down and we are staying inverted so far. This is a reversal candlestick there, but we haven't gotten any follow through on it. It's almost like maybe someone came into the market and stopped this move, but yet it wasn't a genuine move. Usually what you see is you see follow through. You get a big bullish engulfing, and then you see a follow through of something higher. So we'll see if that follow through comes. TLT bond prices, big selling pressure day to day, right at resistance. That is a bearish engulfing. It wants to go lower. That means rates want to go higher. Now, if rates are going higher, I thought we were going to get this slowdown, recession, all this stuff. I don't know about that. We'll see. But that looks like it wants to head down on prices. So yields go up, fund prices go down. The 2 and 10, another one that looks like it almost wants to head lower here, which would be the uninversion of the yield curve. But here's the thing. The yield curve uninverted today with the 10-year going up 0.9% and the 2-year going down 0.12. So even if this were to normalize, the curve to normalize, it's normalizing in a way where the long end is going up. The 10-year is going up and the 2-year went down. So we're normalizing the curve, but these crashes here have been when the curve was falling together. The 10-year was falling off a cliff, but the 2-year fell faster. This is a little bit different setup over here than the setups that were over here before the cliff drop. Gold's up $6. Kind of a weird setup here. We were heading higher, higher, higher. One could say that this is a shoulder, head, shoulder. It's a small pattern though. And then your pattern there is, that. So obviously it broke us out of the uptrend. We've got stronger selling pressure on the candlesticks here. You can see the big red candlesticks all right there, right? We haven't reversed that movement and we're kind of squeezing up again. So is this going to break lower or are we going to break higher? That I do not know. We'll have to wait and see. But the setup here still looks like it could potentially go lower. And I'm basing that off of this big bearish engulfing and no follow through, which generally heads lower. I see this a lot where it kind of comes up and then it gets smacked again. Silver, on the other hand, looks pretty dang good. So we've got conflicting data all over the place here. This is that fractal that you see on a breakout. This is a retest of the breakout. And now we're basically starting to turtle head out to the upside. Could potentially be a double bottom. So this looks really good. Very bullish in my thing. So is gold sending us the correct signal or is silver sending us the correct signal? Silver looks good. And I mean, it looks bullish and it looks good to go. We've got platinum. Platinum's doing all right. We've been squeezing forever. This squeeze started in 2020 on the right-hand side here. It's got the 3-hump consolidation for the most part. You generally get into a little dead period and then you break. This is most of the time the best time to buy and accumulate an asset is during that dead period. This whole deal here looks very similar to this whole deal here. You guys see the similarity. Let's go over here and look. Yeah, that's the same stinking pattern here. In fact, this entire pattern, and this is stuff I go over on the website, guys, too. But I'll just show you. This entire pattern, this fractal, it's called a fractal. I'm going to bring it over here, and it's going to be smushed up a little bit. So it's not going to be the same. That there, that's the fractal. So this portion here is the dive lower. That hump is this hump behind it. And then this right-hand side here, which is, I'll just grab it. This here is that section there. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to rhyme. So this whole consolidation is the same consolidation as what I grabbed over here is this same consolidation. It's just jumbled up and smushed up a little bit different. And then after that, you can see that we got a, and we can size this thing up properly here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to size it up properly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to size the original move up. And what you're going to get is you're going to get a really big move. So it's going to look something probably like that, perhaps. Now, this timing isn't correct. Don't use it for the timing, but it's probably pretty close to the timing of what could eventually happen here. And that's what's going to occur. But everyone wants to go, you know, berserk chasing stuff that is doing this over here. I got to get invested here. Your risk reward is garbage there. Your risk reward is the best when you get down, but you have to be patient for that move. So that's what I think is coming, and that's the fractal analysis on that. And that's what I do some of this with the members. We do a lot of this stuff with the members, not just platinum, but a whole bunch of different things. Palladium, we are down today 1.28%. And it still looks to me like we could get to this level down here. We kind of moved up, we kind of came back, and potentially. Now, that's real short-term stuff. For the most part, we're just squeezing between these two areas. GDX up 2.3%. It's good that we're starting to get some positioning here. Same with GDXJ up 3%, and SILJ up 3.88. We still have this downside momentum. I don't think that's necessarily been broken yet, but it's good to start to see the buyers stretch their legs a little bit and get some big green candlesticks starting to show up. So that's generally the first sign of a potential bottom reversal. XAU to gold ratio, we're up about 3%. Again, we're just ridiculous levels down here, guys. Like it's. I'll just say this. So this is gold and silver mining companies versus gold. If whatever condition is coming, and the miners are going to play this gigantic bull market in gold and silver, this is about as cheap as you can potentially buy it. All in these areas here. 2020 bottom, the bottom of 2024, and where we are today. But it requires patience. Patience for this to play out and work its way on out, so then work its way on out. But here, if we go and do this while gold and platinum and all these other things go to where I think they could potentially go, this will be the best performing sector of probably anything, if it does do that. And I don't know if it will with 100% certainty. I'm just saying it's cheap. Crude oil up 2.8 or 2.75%. Big, nice green candlestick here. The buyers are there, just like this one here. That's a bullish engulfing. We ran into some selling pressure there. This day was weird because we saw a lot of things sell off that day in November 25th. You know, go look at gold, November 25th, which it's this day here for gold. Do you find that a little bit weird that everything just got absolutely smoked that day? All at the same time? Yeah, I'm glad that you think like me. Anyway, this looks good like we're going to try to work our way on up. We'll see. Every time we try to work our way on up, we do get a shellacking in the face. We could also put a little bit of a trend line here. So if we can break out of this thing, that would be the first step. I'll leave that trend line there. TTF gas down a little bit, but the momentum still to the upside. Looks okay. We do have a bearish engulfing here, and sometimes they like to put in like a little double top and then pull back. But the momentum is still upward on the longer term. Natural gas in America getting down 5%. We could do a retest here. So the first thing you do is you break out, and then usually it magnetizes back to this breakout area. That's probably the likely case of what we're going to do. Our boy XOP, yeah, you know me, we are still in the uncertainty land. What is uncertainty land? I call it uncertainty land because we saw crude oil go up 2.78%, but XOP barely went up. It barely budged. But it also barely budged yesterday. And we're sitting on support. Almost like this is meant to be on a pullback right to support. I think we're ready to go. I think we're ready to go. We've broken through this downtrend here. There's a reason we broke through it, and we're flagging back to support, which is most likely going to break higher. Now, that goes contrary what everyone on Twitter is saying. They're all calling for oil at like $50 or maybe even $30 because they are calling for some, head and shoulders pattern. Well, all I can say is if I'm calling it here, it looks like it wants to go higher. That also is the same case with XLE, which is falling in a way where we could go higher sitting on top of support. We're on top of everything. We didn't do all of the work. We didn't climb 3/4 of the mountain to basically start at the base of the mountain. Like we got through all of the crap and all the bad weather and all the resistance, so to speak. And we're now sitting on top. We're just resting is what we're doing on top of that. Doesn't mean we won't climb the rest of the mountain. We're just resting. We've got OIH doing something very similar. We've got here, head. So that's a shoulder, head, shoulder. Inverted. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Looks good to go higher. Newcastle coal futures down 0.62%. Looking like we're getting some selling pressure here. And that did break a support area. There it is. That's the support trend line. And it did break to the downside. Now, here's the thing. As time has gone on, what I've seen is I've seen a lot of jacked up stuff going on, a lot of false breakdowns, a lot of slingshots. It's almost like the algorithms are trying to force it one way or the other. This could also be kind of like a shoulder, head, shoulder that is forming, which is very similar to a lot of the energy stuff. Sprott Uranium Trust up 3.88%. Big day today. The bulls are in. The bulls are in. We got a broken downtrend. It looks good. Let's go higher here, guys. Let's see if we can break out of here. Let's see if we can break out of this flag pattern. This is a gigantic flag pattern, guys. So hopefully we break and we get to run on higher. If oil was going to crash, then why is uranium putting in good charts? You don't think that they're correlated? I think they are. But this is good. Big move up, flag pattern, falling wedge, and we're breaking out of that falling wedge today. Uranium futures pricing up a little bit. Still looking all right. We've got URA slightly lower, irrespective of what we were doing with the Sprott Uranium Trust, but we're right on support. Right on support. Still looks good. And we haven't really had much selling pressure there, so still looks good. URNM up 1.4%, and we're still flagging out, and we're probably going to break out of here at any second. We've got URNJ doing something very similar, just a flag pattern that we're going to break to the upside. So that looks good. We've got copper up 1.6%, trying to work its way on up from support, the big long-term support level there. And guys, I don't know how this doesn't work. Well, we could get a 1, 2, 3 here, where it's basically a big consolidation. But to me, I don't know how copper doesn't go up over the next 5 years. The fundamentals look so stinking bullish, it's ridiculous. COPX also higher. We're breaking out there to the upside. Iron ore up 0.3%. This is what's going to provide all of the stuff to build all these mines. Iron ore or steel and all this other stuff, that's what's going to be the transmission lines for building out the electricity grid. This is going to be the material that's going to go into all the equipment for all the mines that we need. For Caterpillar equipment and what's the other one? I can't think of the names. But this is looking good and it looks real bullish. We're squeezing up into that corner there. We've got aluminum, which is still stuck below, and I think aluminum is going to go way up. We have to build out our electricity grids, yada, yada, yada. We've got nickel down just a little bit today, but basically just moving sideways here. Not a big selling pressure day. We've got Mu slightly lower, but still looking good to work its way on up. Momentum is up. We've just been flagging out here. We've got emerging markets looking like it wants to go higher. We need a weaker dollar, weaker yields. Really what we're waiting for. Weaker dollar. KRE still looks good, just small little red candlestick. Still looks good to go higher. I think of it as a falling pattern. We've got tan down a little bit, but still momentum's up. Lithium down 1.75, but we're still working our way, trying to break through this downtrend, which we're doing, and we're coming on up. So here we go. We've got one big pennant formation. It'll break. Be patient. REMX doing something very similar. Big pennant formation or flag pattern, flapping in the wind. Baltic Dry Index down. We've seen a lot of pressure here, down 4%. But I mean, this is the way that I view it, guys. Pretty easy. If we have a problem in energy and we want to go to electricity, well, that's going to require steel, aluminum, it's going to require copper, and it's going to require all of those things to be shipped. So this going sideways in the meantime will eventually work its way on up because you're going to squeeze shipping if people start to panic if you get short in energy. XHB down 0.21, but it's just flagging out. Still looks good with the flag pattern. One higher, 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 higher. But you know what? We're in a huge homes are in a bubble. That's what people tell me. Although the home builders continue to go up. So I'll just say finding value 1 and housing bears 0 at this time. You guys have not won as we continue to go up. Home sales can go down. I get it, but you're short homes. Russell 2000 down a little bit, still looks good. Big green candlesticks, small red candlesticks. They're just flag patterns that are basically forming all over the place. We've got the S&P 500 continuing higher. This is the plunge protection team. We need people to stay invested in this. We can also look the size of the pullbacks and the size of the moves higher. They're going to start to shrink as you come on up. And it'll be the penultimate top at some point, and then it will roll over. And whenever it does. We've got NASDAQ up 0.4, and that does look pretty strong up here. Despite all of the negative looking stuff. These patterns, this is an ABC correction there coming on up. Another rising wedge within a rising wedge. This is like a bad wet dream within a bad wet dream. And somehow you still get the girl at the end of it in real life. SMCI, we've got down 4.26. Again, guys, this looks like total if. You come on up, you come into the bull trap falls. You got these upward facing flag patterns that are falling, and we could be trying to put in a bottom here, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Nvidia up 1.18, and again, guys, I don't even know how this is doing it. You get these, we're squeezing up into a corner, false throw over top, breaking lower, and then we're like, no, hold on, let's put a bullish engulfing, let's buy this thing up in the face of very strong selling demand. All the insiders are offloading shares, and it's like they're trying to just suck in retail so they can offload those shares for you. This is high risk up here. Bitcoin, it's still chopping sideways. I wouldn't be, direction is unknown at this time. We are consolidating still. We have a short little squeeze here that broke to the downside, but it's such a small pattern that maybe that's all it can muster. But for the bigger, longer term, it's a big flag pattern that's broken to the upside, and it still looks good from a long-term perspective. Ethereum down a little bit, but still looks good. We don't have a lot of selling pressure, no reversal candlesticks. It looks good to go higher. And we're sitting on top of support, just like we are with oil and some of these other areas. And then MicroStrategy, we'll see what this looks like. There's not a ton of follow through here with selling pressure. There's a little bit, but not a ton. Let's be patient. Let's see if this thing scribes out some sort of consolidation and flags to go higher. And I think Bitcoin could still move up, so it is still possible. And we could see another peak, a peak on MicroStrategy that looks something like that or whatever it looks like. Maybe we come on down, do this. The Batman pattern, or sometimes we can come up, do like a rising wedge or something on that side. We're basically doing that with the S&P and the NASDAQ right now. So that's what we've got for today, guys. Give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website. I will be releasing my midweek update here probably late tonight. And then you guys can get my opinions on what I like and what I think are low risk entry points. There's a lot of dividend paying companies right now paying between 12 and 15%. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. I'll take that yield and then have the option for all the upside with the commodity bull market. And those yields don't stay constant. They will fluctuate. When things come down, we can see the yields drop a little bit. When things go up, we can see those yields balloon massively. I do think towards the end of this bull market that I will be earning yields in the same amount, dollar value wise, as money that I put in these past few years and even today. I still think that some of these entry points that I've gotten, I will get back in dividend yields per year, my entire investment amount. So if I put in 10 grand, I am thinking that towards the end of the bull market, I'm going to get $10,000 a year in yields, in dividends at the end of the bull market. So that's my guess. But that's what I've got for today, guys. We'll end it there, and we'll catch you guys next time. This is Finding Value.